Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of On the Prowl, the Daily Princetonian's weekly sports telecast. My name is Vikram Rao, and I'm Executive Editor for Sports here at the Prince, and I'm seated alongside Gabe DeBenedetti, Associate Editor for Sports. How are you doing, Gabe?
Doing all right. It was a good break. How about you, Vikram?
Very good. Absolutely. We have a lot to talk about. Over fall break, Princeton teams brought home 5 Ivy League championships. Quite a few.
Yeah, it was certainly quite a few, and, some of them were actually expected. So both of the cross-country teams brought home their championships.
Right.
The women's team has now won it 5 years in a row. Really expected, but still great to see.
Definitely.
Men's water polo also won.
Yeah, the men's water polo team for the first time had an Ivy League tournament, which they won. The tournament was kind of interesting. There's only 3 teams that actually have varsity programs in the Ivy League. That's Princeton, Harvard, and Brown. So what they did is they brought the club teams from the other schools and played a full tournament. Princeton was the champion, but there was also a club champion, which was Yale, who kind of was the best of the club teams that came. But nevertheless, it's an Ivy League championship and one of the 5 over the break for the Tigers. What about the other sports?
That's right. The field hockey team also picked up a championship. They almost always win this championship. Of the last 18 years, I believe they've won 17 times. They're number 6 in the country, and they beat Penn 10-0, completely manhandled them.
That's a pretty convincing win.
Yeah, and they have a few key injuries, the Tigers do. So the fact that they were able to go out and beat Penn by 10, was pretty remarkable.
Right.
Now they'll look forward to finding out who they're going to play in the first round of the NCAA tournament come Tuesday. The men's soccer team, ranked number 16 in the country, took on Penn last night, number 13 in the country, and guess what? They beat them 2-1 at home.
Absolutely. That was a very exciting game. First half was tight for a while, and then late in the half, off a corner kick by senior defender Teddy Schneider, Ben Burton, a center defender who normally isn't much of a scorer, got his head on the ball, put the ball in the net, put Princeton up 1-0. It was a goal from an unexpected source, but a goal nonetheless. And then in the second half, there was a bit of a kind of scrum in front of the goal, and Josh Walburn, the senior midfielder, who's been doing everything in his career for Princeton, playing defense, scoring goals, game-winning goals, assists, fed Antoine Hopineau, the star forward for Princeton, who finished high and past the goalie. And the Tigers surrendered a goal very late in the game with just about 5 minutes remaining, but Penn couldn't do much after that, and Princeton finished with a 2-1 win and an Ivy League title, and is currently 6-0. They've got one more league game remaining, but in terms of league championship purposes, it doesn't really matter at this point.
That's right. They're the first team in the country to clinch their spot in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
They're now on an 11-game win streak. It's just a pretty remarkable, thing going on for this team.
Yeah, definitely. They started the season 1-3-1, and now they're sitting at 12-3-1.
That's right, and it's the most wins the team has had in one season since Bob Bradley, current coach of the national team, was coach of our team in 1995.
Right.
So all around, a great season so far for the Tigers. They've really looked unstoppable as of late. The football team, however, has not.
Absolutely not. Yesterday, the Tigers played Penn. Some of you might remember last season when Princeton traveled to Penn. They got smashed 42-7. This season, unfortunately, was even worse. Princeton lost 52-10, which was their worst ever loss to Penn. The Tigers surrendered 600 yards of offense. Penn passed for 204 yards and rushed for 396. Not a very good game all around.
No, we have to remember that almost the entire Tiger team is completely banged up with injuries. A lot of the guys that were playing, including our quarterback, Andrew Dixon, who's done a fairly decent job, is not the original starter. Penn, however, is one of the best teams in the football championship subdivision, in the division.
Right.
Princeton was really not expected to compete against Penn, though this was, again, the worst ever loss to the Quakers, a team they've been playing for a very long time. Last year's game was the worst ever loss before this year's.
Right.
Bad news for the Tigers. Jordan Culbreth, our running back, who has been a great, inspiring story after coming back from aplastic anemia last year, was injured towards the end of the game and seems to be out indefinitely. So
probably for the season at this point.
That's right. So the Tigers have 2 games left against Yale and Dartmouth, and they're going to really hope to win one of those. And obviously we try and win both. But if they can scrap out one of those wins, most likely against Dartmouth, if they're going to win one of them,
right,
and avoid having one of the worst seasons they've ever had. And it's a 141-year-old program.
Right, absolutely. It's been tough, as you mentioned. Injuries have been a real problem for this team. From the first week of the season when preseason All-American linebacker Steve Cody went down with a broken leg, it just seems like every week, some key players have been knocked out with injury. The defense is missing Cody. They're missing their defensive tackle, Karan Reed, who's a sophomore. Last year as a freshman, was a very, very good player. Safety Matt Wakulczyk actually has returned to the team after missing about half the season with injury. He was another experienced starter.
Yeah.
And then on offense, they've been missing their starting center since week 1. They've been missing quarterback Tommy Warnham for the last couple of weeks, and he's probably done for the year with a broken collarbone. It's been a tough year, but I think the team is, like you said, hoping they can just scrap out one of these last 2 games, get a little bit of momentum heading into the offseason in the spring.
That's right. Not a great year, but they're really looking ahead to next season because the Tigers have things to be excited about with first-year coach Bob Sorais.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we got for you this week on the Prowl, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you.